Right, we're back live with you tonight here on In Focus. The Msunduzi local municipality woes appear to be far from over. This update was put under administration almost 5 years ago. Although the administrator, Martin Sithole, says the municipality is making progress in tackling issues of service delivery, the finances of the council seem to be getting worse, with reports that it owes creditors close to 2 billion rands. DA caucus leader Ross Strachan joins us now for more on that. Ross, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. What did you hear at this last monthly progress report from the administrator on the state of the municipality?
Good evening, Thabo, and good evening to your viewers. Not a very pleasing and rewarding report, to be very honest. The same old chestnut as usual, that Msunduzi keeps falling deeper and deeper into distress. Obviously, you mentioned the fact that we've been under administration for the last 5 years, and we don't seem to see an end in sight. We keep spending money on the nice-to-haves like football clubs, etc., and not focusing on core functions of the municipality. I mean, the fact that we owe creditors over or close to 2 billion, I mean, it's absolutely unacceptable. And we've got a massive vacuum in terms of senior management, where we've just suspended our municipal manager without following due process. And things are just falling apart as the days go by, without any end in sight, as I've said.
So there was a circular that some parties welcome. This is a good thing, especially the seminal part of the cutting of sponsorship that is non-essential as a cost-cutting measure, but it was not limited to that. I mean, there were interventions around limiting overtime work, limiting the use of municipal vehicles to go home unless it's really those cohort of workers that require that and need to be on standby. The appointment of consultants is another cost that was curtailed, halting of all council-funded projects for 12 months, issues of catering, security, travel, and so on and so forth. Did this make any significant difference?
Thabo, to be very honest, this policy has been in place since we've been under administration since 2019. There's no new policy in place. It's just never been implemented. We've ultimately been making decisions in council, through the majority of council, unlawfully against our own policies. The fact that we've been handing out sponsorships, etc., the nice-to-haves, instead of focusing on core functions, overtime, etc., should have been in place a very, very long time ago. All of a sudden now, just before a national election, we decide that we're trying to act on a policy. It's completely unacceptable and criminal for the ANC, the majority ruling party in KZN, as well as Msunduzi, now to act as if they're doing something.
So you are saying, from where you are sitting, the improvements that are said to be in place by the administrator, things like the collection of waste having gone up, 12,000 tons collected, 116,000 households seeing waste collection. I think they're saying here close to 30,000 meters squared of road being filled, the potholes at least, and 10.4 kilometers of gravel road that has been rehabilitated, amongst the many other issues that they're saying at least service delivery is beginning to improve.
It's an absolute pipe dream of a reality that is being depicted by whoever, as you've said, the administrator. If you drive around Msunduzi, you can physically see that there has been no difference. Waste is still not collected regularly on a weekly basis, sometimes left for 2 weeks on end. It's pothole-ridden throughout the city and its suburbs. Streets are in darkness because street lights haven't been repaired due to the fact that contractors and creditors haven't been paid. It's an absolute pipe dream of a depiction of what the truth is.
So caucus said 5 years ago, when they put this administrator in place, must do 5 things, right? Deal with dysfunctional ward committees, deal with the lack of basic services, waste, roads and electricity, deal with the lack of governance, absenteeism and conditional grants being misused and so on and so forth, a lack of sound financial management. There were allegations there of non-payment of creditors, billing challenges, and so on and so forth, and then build institutional capacity. Of those 5, has any of those been achieved?
So the fact of the matter is, in the 5 years we've been under administration, and obviously we're still waiting for an end to that, we've gone through almost 4 administrators. And right now we're sitting with 2 administrators who are not executing their responsibility in ratifying decisions. We've got administrators that should be focusing on the policies and core functions and ensuring that council make the right decisions. Yet we're going for sponsorships of football clubs for over 30 million for 3 years. It's endless. And COPTA, at the end of the day, the buck stops with them. So COPTA should be taking responsibility here. But there is no responsibility taken from COPTA. Hence the fact we've been through 4 administrators, or close to 5 now, who seem to have no end in sight. And whenever they get to a position where they're trying to execute their responsibility, there seems to be a barrier.
So the view of the administrator that consequence management is beginning to take shape there, with some resignations being reported, 15 cases concluded, 31 at different stages of implementation, with 7 or so officials presiding over these questions. What is taking place there as far as consequence management is concerned?
So, Tawo, to be very honest with you, we had a municipal manager in place, Mr. Mapoloba, who really focused on consequence management, and he was getting it right. All of a sudden, and I think it's due to the fact that he was opening doors that he shouldn't have, and suddenly he was removed and suspended without following due process by the mayor and the leadership of the municipality. It was nothing to do with the administrator. The previous MM was really focusing on consequence management. Now he's gone. There's a real deep vacuum within the municipality now, where we've got more than half the complement of senior managers that are acting with no qualifications and just not fit for purpose.
So currently, who's functioning in that office of the municipal manager?
Well, it's the acting city manager at the moment, who was our previous manager of infrastructure now, who's come into that position, who was basically put into that position even before it was approved by council, by the mayor himself.
And you're saying the acting municipal manager doesn't have institutional capacity, so to speak, to be able to operate in that, or is the acting municipal manager compromised?
Well, Tabo, to be very honest, we weren't given any information about the acting appointment. There was no background qualifications, and due process was never followed in terms of appointing the acting city manager. So to our knowledge, we have no idea of the qualifications of the new acting city manager.
So the 2 billion rands, then how is that affecting services?
Well, Tabo, you know, for a point of fact that there are times when this city goes without electricity and water for 7 days in a week at stages in some suburbs. And the fact of the matter is that the mayor is going out in his campaign and he's posting on the municipal Facebook pages about handing out 5-litre water bottles to people that haven't had water for months on end and acting as if it's an emergency. That's how bad the situation is. There are places that haven't had water for over 8 years, and we still do not see any resolve. But yet we're spending money on non-core functions of this municipality.
So are the people owed now refusing to do work for the city?
Well, to be very honest, the smaller creditors like the SPCA, who have got a partnership with us and a contract with us that haven't been paid for over 6 months, and they are due to obviously execute our pound duties, they can't execute that duty. Various other, let's take Eskom for example. Eskom have not been paid and have missed, obviously, payments through Msunduzi. We should have been disconnected long time ago in terms of NERSA and in terms of the Constitution and in terms of our regulator. And yet we're still carrying on. But it's affecting basic service delivery on a daily basis.
Ross, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on. DA caucus leader and executive committee member in that local municipality.